My name is Apple of Doom and welcome to another Geometry Dash building video. In the last episode, we worked on this transition and cleaned up a lot of this area leading into the final end screen of the level. Now that this is all kind of done, I want to work on the final piece to this being the actual end screen itself. So I started working on it last episode with designing up the logo and everything, but this time I really want to get all the text into place, get how the final look will be, and I think that'll be good. So in the previous episode, I asked you guys which of these you liked and posted them on various different Discord servers, on Reddit, and of course on the YouTube polls. And I got a lot of responses and I'm very happy for that. And I'll put the responses on screen now. So you can see that row C was clearly the winner, with C4 being the most popular out of all of them. And so I had a lot of comments asking me to tweak a few things. So for example, with C1 here, I added in an outline to the logo to help fit the outline of the text. I think that looked all right, but again, in the polling, people didn't really like that as much. People also really liked the effect I used on these four ones in the C row. However, they were a little unclean, so I took the time to redesign them, and I ended up with this really cool effect using what's called halftone to create the little dots that kind of come in and out. I think it ended up really cool, so I think that'll be the final effect to our level. I'm thinking I might even animate it a little bit and add a bit of a transition. So now that we have that, here's our UI. Now, off camera, I actually zoomed this whole area out a bit so you can see a bit more, and that really helps bring everything into frame a little bit. You can see I added a little bit of extra leaves at the top here so that it doesn't cut off. And so I'm gonna have to try and figure out how all this is going to layer up. So first things first, we're going to have to kind of design where everything's going to go. Now, I want to keep everything within this green box here, which is the 4x3 area, but also keep into account this extra white line being where newer iPhones will be. So what I want to happen is have all of these kind of come from off screen, say over here, and then come in. I think that would be the best way to go about it. But I think I actually want to take a look at some other end screens in levels and see how they do it, to inform us on how we should do it. So I'm going to be using the playthroughs that Viprin has done of these levels, starting with one of my favorites, Own Display by El Malto Swag, which you can see here has the logo of the competition, this was part of the NCS Gauntlets contest, but you can see how everything's framed out. There's not a lot of space around the edges here. There's a nice list of playtesters, which hopefully I'll try and get some playtesters in to playtest it, but I don't think it needs a lot, seeing as it's an easy level compared to, some of these levels which I'm going to be looking at that are either harder or insane or that sort of thing. We have who the level's by, El Malto Swag right there, and we have level info, which has the amount of objects, the amount of triggers, and the amount of months of work. So of course that won't be finalized right now, but it can be good to try and lay it out and see how it will look right now. And then we can update it when the level is finished. Moving on to another level I've mentioned before, being Wistful Wilds by Club Fubbers. And you can see this has a kind of similar vibe where it kind of fades out, but we've got this letterboxing effect where these black bars come up between the tops and the bottoms of the screen. And so that's commonly used to make things look more cinematic. So that might be a really good idea to add to my level, because I'm trying to go for that sort of cinematic vibe that Wistful Wilds is also doing. And you got the giant logo right in the middle with Glove's name down the bottom. So I think that might be a really good thing to incorporate here. Next up, we have one of the NCS event levels, Retrospective by Nikki, which you can see, very simple, name in the front, but instead of having info, they've got more logos on everything, including who the music's by, and of course the event logo that a lot of creators have used in it as well. So because the song was created by Waterflame, well, the song I'm using is created by Waterflame, it might be a good idea to add his logo into the end screen as well. Next up, we got Heave Ho, which is another event level, but this time it's a bit different, where you got the animation in the middle, which kind of has Boom Kitty's logo, which is the creator of this song, and then each of the members of the level, because it was a giant collab, and these would be helpers or playtesters, same sort of thing, and Snom created the end screen. So this had a lot more people involved in it, so I might not need to include as much information as this one does, but it's good to keep it in mind anyways. And finally here we got Cave World by Comet Face, which I really respect for its art style, and you can see here it kind of goes through basically what's a slideshow of different images with the Cave World logo or name on the side, and then playtesters and additional help on the side, which I think this doesn't quite work because it's, the basic GD font, but I really like this idea of having the rotating images here They're really awesome, as well as the colors changing on the side. I'm not sure I'm going to have that whole slideshow element to it, but it's a good idea to, keep it in mind while I'm making it anyways. Alright, now that we've looked at those, I think I want to try something new. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And one thing I've noticed is, so currently the Space Gauntlet competition is running. And so by the time this video comes out, the results should have probably come out. But what I've noticed is a lot of levels actually do something interesting that was also shown in one of the end screens. But they use black bars at the bottom to make it look more cinematic. So what I'm thinking of doing is adding this to an invisibility link. So we'll go this one, group 171, and I'll have it on the tops and bottoms for the whole duration of the level, just to see how it looks. Does it look more cinematic? Who knows? So if we go to our UI trigger, we're looking at the group ID, which is 336. So I'll go to these two, add them to 336, and I'm just going to start from the start and see if it works. Oh, it does work. It's just because the screen was so zoomed out, you can't actually see it. So I bet if I were to play this like this, oh, never mind, it just doesn't work full stop. Huh? What did I do wrong? If I go to UI, the UI target is the single object used for the camera, which is the camera guide. We've done that. And the group ID is the objects in the UI. Maybe if I go relative? Oh, right. No wonder I can't see it because it's attached to the screen. So if I play it, right, I just pause. It's supposed to be attached to my screen. So if I go over to here, yeah, you can't see it there. Okay, this might take some getting used to. I'm just going to see how it looks at the end here because I don't think you can actually see it for the rest of the level. Hello, where is it? It should be right here. It should be tops and bottoms. Because if I were to move this directly over this area, then yeah, it should absolutely be visible. Because last episode, I managed to get all those objects on the screen at once. So is it just a matter of bumping this in a little bit more like that? I don't know. Maybe I can add it to a different link visible. We'll put this on 281 instead. And it's still not appearing. It's definitely moving. I don't understand where it's going. What? But go here, it zooms out to 0.45, which means we should have this set to, oh, this is the wrong zoom. I don't understand. Why are these black bars not working? Maybe if I shrink them down like this. What if I just do this? What if I do that? Okay, yeah, what if we do that? I'm still not seeing any black borders. Because yeah, if you look, then they're not here. They're somewhere off screen. Somehow. I don't know what's causing that. What if I make them relative? Will I see them if I make them relative? I will in fact not. This goes above everything. It's T4 100. I'm going to do my thingo again and just add a bunch of these. Maybe I'll do a pattern around the center like that and then make all those 336. It's definitely 336, right? Yeah. Then why isn't it working? Why can I see the edge of the red there and that's it? Okay. Not relative. That looks better. That wasn't set to relative though. Is it based off the zoom of what it is originally? Do I have to set it to a normal? Is that the problem I'm having here? So if I just do a normal guide like that, it's not at any zoom. It should be group 335, right? Then that lines up with the red on the edges. Oh my God, this all makes sense now. So if I kind of create black bars like that and I delete the start pause and I just like go, whoa, it looks so cinematic. Although it's also affected by the effects, which looks a bit strange. But I get it now. So I shouldn't have set the zoom. That was my big problem. But everything looks so much more epic now. It's weird how that one little detail just like kind of changes everything. I actually like that it like unfocuses and refocuses. Although it makes this area a bit stupid is the only problem. This has got a lot of verticality and it's impossible to see all of it. So I'm definitely not adding it to the whole level. This part of the level doesn't really change much because I've got kind of my own borders there anyways. That's fine. All right, let's see how this looks. Okay, this part is also very vertical, so it doesn't quite work here. But how does it look on the end screen? Ooh, it cuts off quite a lot. What I could do instead is have this start out, and then I have, this is 337, and this is 338, and then once you move past here, they move into place. So 337 will move 10, and then do the opposite for the other group. And I might zoom this out just a little bit more to 0.4. And so what that'll do is that'll give me extra leeway around the edges. You'll see what I mean once I do it, but let me put in the start pause. Okay, that was very subtle and underwhelming. It needs to be way faster. And also, it needs to move a lot more. It just kind of sadly moved into place. Ooh, I think I should line up the ending of it with the like crash, the like trust me, it will make sense. So about there. And this will look a lot better with the background. So I'm gonna play it just like in the normal mode and play through the entire level to get to that point. I've played through this level like a million times. I should probably see how many attempts I've got. Maybe I'll do that after this. Ooh, that lined up pretty alright. I think I might change it a little bit because this still feels really zoomed in somehow. I think it's a good amount of black bar. I think I'm going to zoom this out to 0.35 even, see how that looks. And then I think I'm going to set these to maybe ease in so it looks a bit nicer. Oh, right, before I do that, I was going to check the attempts. Total attempts 500. That's honestly pretty low. Still high for like a 2-star, but like lower than I expected. I honestly don't notice much of a difference in the zoom. It looks like the same amount of zoom, huh? Am I going crazy? That looked like the same amount of zoom. Is there a minimum amount of zoom I can do? Hang on. This looks really cool. I didn't mean to do this, but that looks like the same amount of zoom again. Can I not zoom out to 0.3? Surely there's like a limit. That must be what it is. If I go 0.1, that work? Okay. If I go like 0.2, is it the same? It's the same. Wait, no. If I go to 0.3, it's the same. If I go to 0.4, it's the same. If I go to 0.5, it's different. Okay. 0.4 is the minimum. Oh no. That's so sad. Why can't I go to 0.3? Okay, in that case, I'm gonna make this 15 and negative 15. That's actually so sad. Why can I not do that? Well, now I'm just disappointed. I'm gonna be honest. Very disappointing outcome. Means you can't even see the tops of this. Wait, I've got a banger idea. So this is group 335. What if I select like all of this? Give me a second. I'm gonna cook. Really hard. Trust me. What if I add all this, add it to 339, and then scale trigger, maybe after it happens, to center group 335 and group 339, make it 0.8. Oh, this is an atrocious idea. Let's see how badly this breaks. Where is it? Why'd it go that way? Oh, because it's over there. Okay. I got this. What group does it stop on? The camera locks in place. I think it's 110. So instead I'm gonna warp it around 110 and see if that makes a difference. This might be a very silly idea. Also, I think 0.8 was a little much, so I'm gonna make it 0.9. All right, how does this work? Whoa, it works! It works! Oh my god. Okay, so this needs to be a part of it, obviously. I just can't believe that works. What if I do the exact same thing here? What if I make it 0.8? Actually, no, that'll mess with gameplay. I'm gonna have it after, have it ease in, out. Okay. I'm cooking, but I don't know how the background looks. So I'm gonna play it in normal mode once again, which is great because it means I get to play this entire level over again. Woohoo, yippee me. All right, how silly does this look? That kinda looks crazy. What on earth? Okay, so this tree on the left-hand side then becomes visible, which is an issue. And then what I think I want to do is bring in this trunk and make it thinner as it goes to the top. I think that'll make it look a lot better. And then I'll have to add a little bit more to the top. But other than that, holy shit, that looks cool as. So I'm just gonna grab a lot of this. So I'm gonna grab probably this whole right side of the tree. Grab a bit more of this as well. And 339 it. I kind of want to shrink this in a bit and then keep this going up just to add a bit of that crispy little flavor. Does it look like it gets thinner? Really, not really. Okay, whatever. This will just be a giant tree, I guess. I mean, that's what it is already. A giant tree? I should shut up. Oh man, yes, that's exactly what I want. And then I can warp everything down here. Yeah, I think that helps it a lot, actually. Does that make it look worse? No, it doesn't make it look worse. That's good. How am I dealing with these? I think I might warp them down a bunch, like there, and then just rotate them on the sides so they're like leaning in now. That doesn't look stupid. That's good. What does look stupid is the fact that all these branches have kind of come off their like hinges. So I might just pull them a bit in. Oh, I'm messing everything up. This was a terrible idea. Why did I convince myself to do this? There we go. Now it looks like a it gets thinner as it goes up, which is exactly what I want. And yeah, I think I'm alright with that. I think that's gonna look alright. Let's see how that looks in normal mode. I keep calling this normal mode despite the fact it's just not called that, I think. I mean, the practice mode inside the editor is also just like a normal mode, so like, why is this any different? I don't know. You tell me. Okay, it looks a lot better with the trunk kind of pulled in a little bit. I think these swing way too wildly, so I might slow down their swing a bit. And the fact that this side doesn't swing in comparison doesn't look great either, because I've kind of designed it around a different zoom. So I might change this to instead be 0.85, and I think that'll look a bit nicer. Yeah, that's a much better zoom, actually. You can still see the sun clearly. You can still see all the parts clearly. I think that's nice. And then I can even add a little bit more to this side over here. There's a bit more room to fiddle around with it. Although I think I might actually push this back to the right one. As crazy as that sounds, I gotta stop fiddling with this entire area here. It's so bad. I gotta stop messing with this every single episode. Right, move it back by one, but I'm still gonna keep these over here. Okay, we're done with that. We're not touching that. We're moving on to what I wanted to do this episode, which is the UI. Now with the layout, there's a couple ways I could go. I'm gonna add this to a new layer. I could have this in the center. I could have this off to the side. I could do a number of things. So this is gonna be part of group 336. Is that the right one? Yes, it is the right one because I'm smart and clever. I could do that, and then I could have stuff around the sides. And that could look nice. That could be an idea. Or I could have this off to the side. Oh, there's so many options to try. So I'm gonna try them all, and then we're gonna see it together. And it's gonna be fun. Yay, yippee. All right, to lay this out, I think the first thing I want to do is shrink this down because this will look huge in game. I think what I want to do is have a list of things on the right, list of things on the left. I think that would be the best way to go about it. So if I grab my text, I think I'm going to have like a play testers section here. But when that happens, I want to do that a little later on. What I've been thinking of doing is having maybe some people with creator points tested out, because people with creator points, you know, they've already got a rated level, so they'll know what the rating standards are. And I think that'll be really good. And over here, I think I'm going to have a thing for objects, groups, and time. I think that's the general layout I kind of want to go with. And then for these, I can do little icons for them so you can see how, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And then I think I'm going to have like by me, and I think that'll lay it out a bit nicely. I want to make sure this is centered. Yep. So this will be like my level info section. And yeah, I think that'll be good if I have it laid out like that. Now I'm going to add all these text objects to group 339. Whoops, wrong one. I meant 336. And then I think I'm going to add all of these to a new group. No, I'm not. I'm going to add it to 336. And then I'm just going to have a toggle on 336 trigger somewhere down here, so they're not loaded in at all times. So this will be like an activate here, and I'll go to the start and have it activate off. And so that way it isn't loaded through the whole level, it doesn't lag. I forgot to set a start pause. Okay, these are all blurred a little. I think that looks pretty okay. I think it needs to zoom out a little more. I don't know. I think the Castle in the Clouds logo needs to come up a bit as well. I think this text needs to be shrunken and moved out like a slight amount. Okay, so if I scale this down to here, I think that's good. And I scale this down to here, I think that'll fix a lot of it. And I actually want this bigger. There, that's perfect. And I think that'll look a lot nicer. And I'll shrink this down as well. All right, I'm gonna play it in normal mode so I don't have all this crap on screen. And we'll see how it looks. The background will be a little broken though, just because I've like started it at a different point in the level. I wish it didn't do that. I don't know why it does that. This level actually just like hates me as I'm making it. Oh, I just need to remove the blur on that somehow. But otherwise, that looks awesome. I think that's like a really good layout. I think I want to bring up the text a little bit. And I think I want to bring up the logo a little bit as well. No, I want to bring up the logo in size, and I want to move these info sections up a bit and create a bit of hierarchy. So I don't know if any of you guys have done graphic design, but there's a core principle called hierarchy where you want your titles and things to be larger and your other info to be smaller. So I'm going to bring those up. I'm going to bring the logo up, and I'm going to bring these up maybe there. I think that's how I want to do it. Although I think I'm gonna shrink these down and just shrink down this text a little bit more. Yes. And I want these all to be on T4 100. And what I can do is I can go to my shaders and then here change it to not include the UI, I think. If I don't include UI, will that fix it? It does fix it. Oh, that's awesome. I think the contrast on the logo itself is a bit hard to see because of the sun. Keep in mind the sun will be up here, so maybe it will look a bit better. The background's a bit broken because of where I placed the start pause. But I think otherwise, that's like perfect in how I want to like frame it. That's awesome. And I'm glad taking the shaders off the UI here has fixed it. That's perfect. One thing I did notice though that's gonna annoy me is that this is not there. There we go. Done. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I want to do. I'm just going to go through and replace all the text with this font here. And hopefully it won't bring up my objects by like 5 million. But we'll see. And I'll come back to you once I've done it. All right, now that I've put in the kind of new font for everything, the new font's a lot thinner than the kind of placeholder font I was using. So I think I'm gonna play through it and see how it looks relatively. Oh, of course I forgot to put in a start pause. What happened to the start pause I was using? I don't think I deleted it. Oh, right, I wanted to test it with the sun. I'm stupid, I just forgot. Whoa, it looks really good. It's just the only problem is you can see the white on white down the bottom here means you can't see this. So I think I need to add some sort of drop shadow to the whole thing. I'm also thinking of animating this logo so that the dots kind of come in like it is transition or something. I don't know. I think that could work. But like, oh my God, this works really well. So I think once again, I'm just going to do it off camera. It's way too much effort to do it in time-lapse form. So I'll get back to you once I add the drop shadow. All right, so I did a bit more effect work and just made it fade in kind of when the black bars also come in. And let's see how it looks with the drop shadow. That looks really nice. But I think the fade in doesn't work because it kind of breaks all the objects on the logo. I think the drop shadow definitely helps it, but I think it needs a bit more of a drop shadow. It's a little too subtle. I actually lowered the opacity of it because I thought it'd be too dark and too contrasty, but I think it's not quite enough. It does make everything stand out a lot more though, which I really like. What I'm thinking instead is maybe I have everything move from off screen. That could work. And then I do like a little bit of animation on the logo of the level. I think that could work quite well actually. So what I'll do is go back to this layer which has all our glow, which is 700 objects. Yeesh. I'm gonna up it maybe to like 25 or 0.25 rather, because I don't know, it looks quite dark and patchy when I do it like this. Maybe it'll work a lot better actually in the level. I don't know, this is a very uneven job. I tried to be pretty even with it, but clearly I was not. But anyways, what I think I'll do is I'll separate this into separate groups that'll come in at different times. So this will be 340, 341, 342, and 343, and then I've got to figure out how far they should move. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Easy. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool, that's behind. That's exactly what I want. All right, and that should look a lot nicer. And now for the animation, I think what I'll do is go to a new layer. And so what I want is for these to kind of be hidden by these objects. And these will be on group 3, 4, 5. So the goal is make everything look normal. It's actually not normal. That is an atrocious way of explaining it, but whatever. I think I'll get these ones to kind of line up a bit better with their circles. Like that. Cool. And then I can go through and kind of round out these ones. So you see, it's like, oh, this is a giant cloud. How cool. And then it will disappear and then show what it really is. And I think that's a cool way of doing it. Now, this one will be a bit more interesting. If I copy this, bring it to this layer, what I want to do is actually have it so that it's like this, and then it pulls in towards here. I think that could be the way to go about it. There we go. So it'll be this, and then I want these to scale down using these as the kind of components. So this will be 346, 347, 348, 349, and then these new pieces will be the ones that scale down towards them. So that's how that's going to be. I want to use the scale trigger over the course of 1, no center group for 3, 4, 5, and they'll scale down to 0. Yep, so they'll just get very, very tiny. Hopefully that should give off like a really, really cool effect. Only problem is, did I just see that not layered correctly? Uh-oh. Okay, hopefully that should be all layered correctly. Let's see how this looks in like the normal mode. Huh? Where did they go? Nothing's there. What? This is group 340, and then this is group 340. Oh, I see what I've done. I've put them all on the wrong group. Okay, so this is 340, 341, that's 342, and that's 343. Okay, now it should be good. Okay, time to play through the entire level again. Yippee, go me. Okay, that definitely happens way too fast. And also you can't see the animation of that very well. But at least the animation works because I can't see any of the objects that I used. I actually might go in and lower the opacity of the backing just a smidgen, 0.15 will work better. But the main thing I've got to do is have all of these. I think I'll make them all come in here. I'll bring them up to 2, and then at the end they'll go and then I'll get rid of everything. Huh? The animation doesn't even play. I think this needs to go a bit slower, but I don't understand why this animation's not playing. Maybe it happens too soon. If I put it at the end there, well that'll play, right? That works out, right? Tell me that works out. Tell me that works out. The animation didn't work again. Huh? Is it all done correctly? Am I just like stupid? It's all on 336. Oh, you know what? It's not moving down. What group did I put this on? 340. That's it. This isn't part of 340 and that's messing with it. Ugh. Okay, we'll try it again. Okay, and that time it didn't play at all. Oh god, I feel like I'm on the edge of a sneeze, but now I'm not sneezing. What the hell? I think what's happening is that because these are after the end trigger here, they're not playing. So if I just like line it up one before that, there, and then just like, I don't know, half space it a little bit. Hopefully that should trigger before, maybe, possibly. Let's see if that works. Please tell me that works. Because I've got the end trigger set to instant, so there's no dead space between, I don't know, where the player finishes and where the end trigger is. Because like, normally at the end of the level, it like sucks you in and there's like a period of time where like nothing really triggers. I gotta fix that. Okay, it didn't work that time either. Who's to say it works at all? Let's put it like over here, right? That's definitely gonna trigger, because you're right there, it's gonna trigger. Trust me, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Huh? Why are these all one? Huh? Okay, you know what? Watch this. Watch a mad genius play. Instead, I'm going to divide them by like as much as possible. Because what I think's happening is there's an inbuilt limit onto how much you can shrink it. So I'm going to avoid that by doing this. So I think the issue wasn't the fact that it was too far away. It was the fact that that was happening. So now if I put this here, it should still all work. And then just to make things safe, I'm also gonna have these all here. Jeez, I gave myself a heart attack for like no reason. I can make things good. I'm not bad at creating. Please trust me. Okay, the fact that it didn't even like fade out as like a safety measure tells me that it does have to do with where the end is. So if I go into these are all divided by like, what happened to this number here? These are all divided by a ridiculous number. Are these like hitting like integer limits or something? Why are they like 5904? Where's that coming from? Anyways, what I can do is have this slot spawn triggered and this slot spawn triggered. Now if I go into here, I go select spawn trigger. I go into here, I select spawn trigger. These should all be 0 opacity. These are all group 344. So if I go to group 344 and delay it by 2, then that'll spawn that in 2, because the length of these are 2, and then 345 have a delay of 3. So let's see if that works. I just want to make sure this is all correct. Okay, let's check out this one. This is a group 349, target group 355. That's this one, right? This is 349. This is 353. Yes. Yeah, that's all correct. So it should be working. The fact that it isn't is like making me want to explode. All right. Will it work? Whoa. Oh, I know what happened. I had it as scale X and Y instead of scale X, and that's why those looked weird. At least I know these spawn triggers work. That's very good. These don't, though. Why don't these work? Because I can still see the dots from 345. Anyways, I need to take all these and do not divide by Y value, and Y value will just be 1. That'll be normal. It won't change. But other than that, I think that's looking how I want it to be. I kind of want the circles to kind of go from left to right. So maybe instead of spawn triggering all of them together, I offset it. So like this will be 355 and then so on and so forth. Wait, no, that's not how that works. That's not what I want to do. I don't think there's an easy way of doing it other than having these on one group, having these on another group, and then so on and so forth. So what if I make, this is 345 and then 355 and then it kind of goes in that order. So I'm going to move these up so I can distinguish them. And also instead of doing this, I'm going to just add everything here to a brand new group so it can all fade out at once. Yep, cool. And so these will all have different groups starting at 359 that'll trigger at different times. So this will be like 2.2 and then I'll go up, I think, in increments of 0.2. And so that way there should be a really neat sweeping effect. Hopefully that's how that works. If it isn't how it works, I'm gonna be very annoyed because I've spent way too much time like precision engineering all this. Whoa, that looked awesome. That looked so cool. Only problem is I think it needs to happen a bit faster. I think I'm gonna do that, which means I'm gonna decrease all of these to 0.1. Actually, instead of doing that, I think these will need to be decreased a little bit so it happens before like the level complete screen comes up. I might make this 1.5 and then do, I don't know, 1.6, 1.7 and 1.8. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it. But man, that looked clean as. I'm very happy with that actually. Yo! That looked clean! That was awesome! Once again, I can still see the little white dots from the larger ones. I don't know why they haven't disappeared, because the other ones definitely have, but on like a tiny mobile phone screen or anything like that, you're not gonna see it. But other than that, holy shit, this looks awesome. I love this. I'm very, very pleased with how this turned out. And I think I'm gonna leave all the UI editing there. I'm gonna have to come back to it once I've finished everything to add in the total amount of objects and, you know, that sort of thing. But other than that, that's very good. Now, the only thing I wanted to do was, I had an idea for what to put here. And that was a little suit of armor or like a bust or something. Because this is a castle and I think that kind of goes with the little castle aesthetic. So what I'm thinking is it could be kind of more like a bust kind of style. And if you don't know what that bust is, it's kind of like waist up. Hello and welcome to this very kind of out of nowhere time lapse. I kind of just got sucked into building it and didn't speak for a bit, so I thought it would be best to just deliver it in time lapse form. I just want to, while you're all here, I just want to thank you all for 300 subscribers. I know it's like not much, but like I started off doing all this geometry stuff when I had about 100 subscribers, so I've gained, you know, 200 in the past couple of months I've done this, which is kind of cool to think about. So thank you all for sticking around and watching my videos, even if they're not that interesting. Yeah, but with this time lapse, with this build, really, I wanted to try and create a really cool looking medieval suit of armor. What I've kind of been doing with this whole art style is kind of, I don't know, making something that looks pretty flat and then adding a bunch of glow to make it like kind of stand out. And so I did a very similar thing with this as well. But with all this editing, I need to do more time lapses because editing takes forever, which is why these videos are coming out so late, and I apologize for that. It's been like another 3 weeks since I've gotten the last video out, but hopefully I should be able to get on top of it soon. Anyways, back to the live play. Alright, I think I'm actually pretty happy with that. That's a nice looking suit of armor. And with that, I think I'm going to end off the episode. I think from now on, a lot of this is pretty much finished. The last section I really need to do is this, which is going to be like the outdoor hanging gardens kind of section. So I think from here on out, you're not going to see many changes. A lot of them are going to be either under the hood or very minimal, because I know I really want to go through and sort out these bricks and make them look a lot more visually appealing, which will take a lot of time, and I'll probably have an episode where it's just a time lapse of me fixing that up. But other than that, I'm getting very close to finishing this level, which makes me very excited because if you've looked at my like level upload rate, I do not upload levels very often. It takes me a lot of time. And I've also got a lot of other projects I want to work on, including like collabs and that sort of stuff, which I just have not had the time for, making this and then editing the videos and all that. So for now, I think this is all good. I'm very happy with all this. If you liked the episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, leaving your suggestions. I always make sure to look at them. I hope you had a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.